47 cranes, $15 billion, and a dream that just became reality. Melbourne's 5 million residents were trapped by a transport crisis that choked their entire city. Every day, millions of passengers squeezed through a single underground bottleneck built in the 1980s. The city loop couldn't handle the load anymore. The solution? Bore twin 9-kilometre tunnels beneath Australia's densest urban core. Slice through Bluestone bedrock, navigate around century-old foundations, all while keeping the city running above. November 30th, 2025, the impossible became possible as the Metro Tunnel opened its doors. But what did it take to carve a new future beneath one of Australia's busiest cities? Let's find out. Melbourne Transport Crisis Solution. Melbourne's transport network had a fatal flaw: the City Loop. This single underground rail circuit became the choke point for the entire metropolitan system. Every train from every direction had to squeeze through the same narrow tunnel. The loop was already over capacity, and without intervention, the network would collapse under Melbourne's explosive growth. Delays cascaded across the network like dominoes. The human cost was real. Commuters from the outer suburbs faced 90-minute journeys for trips that should take 50 minutes. Parents missed their kids' bedtime stories because they were stuck on delayed trains. Workers chose jobs based on train timetables, not career opportunities. The transport crisis was reshaping how people lived their lives. The government's response was audacious. Instead of expanding the existing loop, they'd bypass it entirely. Twin tunnels would slice beneath the CBD, connecting the busiest suburban lines without touching the congested city circuit. This wasn't just about adding capacity. This was about fundamentally rewiring how 5 million people move through their city. The tunnels would run 40 meters underground, deeper than any rail infrastructure in Australia. They'd pass beneath heritage buildings, active construction sites, and a web of utilities that kept the city alive. The scale was staggering. 9 kilometers of twin tunnels, 5 new underground stations, all carved from bedrock, while Melbourne's CBD operated normally overhead. But could they actually pull this off? The answer came when thousands of Victorians lined up from dawn to be among the first passengers through the new underground network. Underground tunnel boring technology. 2 tunnel boring machines named Joan and Alice became the stars of this underground drama. Each machine weighs 7,000 tons and stretches 90 meters long. These mechanical beasts chewed through Melbourne's notorious bluestone and clay at a rate of 10 meters per day. The tunnels passed directly beneath Parliament Station, a 150-year-old heritage structure built on shallow foundations. One miscalculation could bring down Victoria's seat of government. The solution required surgical precision. Engineers installed over 300 support pillars to underpin the station before the boring machines arrived. Each pillar was positioned with millimeter accuracy. The margin for error, 0. The tunnel alignment demanded perfection. Gas mains, water pipes, fiber optic cables, and building foundations created a 3-dimensional maze 40 meters underground. The boring machines had to thread between these obstacles while maintaining laser-straight trajectories. Alice encountered bluestone so hard it shattered cutting tools designed for granite. The crew developed new diamond-tipped discs that could slice through rock harder than concrete. Joan faced underground water flows that threatened to flood the tunnels. Waterproof seals and constant pumping kept the bores dry. Temperature control became critical. At 40 meters depth, geothermal heating pushed air temperatures toward dangerous levels. Industrial cooling systems pumped chilled air through the tunnels, creating an artificial climate for the crews working below. The boring process operated 24 hours a day. 3 shifts of engineers monitored every meter of progress. Laser guidance systems ensured the tunnels stayed within centimeters of their planned route. Real-time sensors detected ground movement above, protecting the city's foundations. Each boring machine cost $50 million. They're custom-built for Melbourne's specific geological conditions. The cutter heads rotate at 2 revolutions per minute, applying 8,000 tons of force. Conveyor belts removed 1,000 cubic meters of excavated material daily. The breakthrough moments were cinematic. When Joan punched through to create the first complete tunnel, cheers echoed through chambers carved from 400-million-year-old bedrock. Alice followed months later, completing the twin-bore system that now carries Melbourne's future beneath its feet. Melbourne Metro Tunnel Cost Budget. The Metro Tunnel sits at the center of Victoria's $100 billion Big Build program. That's more infrastructure spending than most countries attempt in a decade. Opposition politicians called it fiscal madness. Budget blowouts became inevitable. Initial estimates of $9 billion stretched to $15 billion as engineering challenges mounted. Pandemic disruptions added complexity and cost. Labor shortages drove up wages. Global supply chain issues inflated material prices. Yet the economic case remained solid. The government fired back with economic modeling. The Metro Tunnel would generate $1.30 in economic benefits for every dollar invested. Reduced travel times, increased productivity, and property development around new stations would pay dividends for generations. The timeline pressure was relentless. First passenger services were promised for late 2025. Missing that deadline would trigger penalty clauses worth hundreds of millions. Political careers hung in the balance. Melbourne's population was growing by 100,000 people annually. Without the Metro Tunnel, the transport network would collapse under demand within a decade. The choice wasn't between spending and saving money. It was between spending now or facing transport chaos later. The project delivered on time. The opening proves that massive infrastructure investments can work when engineering excellence meets political commitment. The $15 billion price tag seems reasonable when measured against the alternative: a city strangled by its own success. Melbourne train network transformation. The Metro Tunnel adds capacity and more. It rewrites the rules of Melbourne transport. For the first time in the city's history, passengers can travel cross-city without changing trains. The Sunbury line connects directly to Cranbourne. Pakenham links straight to the southeast. No more forced transfers through the congested city loop. The time savings are dramatic. A journey from Sunbury to Cranbourne previously required 90 minutes and 2 train changes. The new network cuts that to 50 minutes on a single train. Commuters reclaim 40 minutes of their lives, twice daily. 5 new underground stations became architectural marvels carved from bedrock 40 meters below street level. Arden, Parkville, State Library, Town Hall, and Anzac feature soaring cathedral-like spaces with natural light filtering through glass atriums. These are underground landmarks that rival any surface architecture. Each station handles 40,000 passengers daily at peak capacity. Platform screen doors prevent accidents and maintain climate control. Digital displays provide real-time information in multiple languages. Accessibility features include lifts, tactile guidance, and audio announcements for vision-impaired passengers. The capacity explosion solves Melbourne's growth crisis. The limited service launch already delivers 240 extra weekly services. When full operations begin February 1, 2026, dubbed the Big Switch, the network will carry an additional 1,000 weekly services. That's equivalent to removing 200,000 cars from peak-hour roads. Property development follows the new stations like a magnet. High-rise apartments, office towers, and retail complexes cluster around each entrance. The Arden precinct transforms from industrial wasteland to high-density residential hub. Property values surge within walking distance of the new network. Local businesses report immediate impacts. Cafes, restaurants, and retail stores relocate to capture new passenger flows. Employment hubs emerge around station precincts, creating walkable work-live communities. The economic multiplier effect spreads as businesses relocate closer to stations and workers choose homes based on Metro Tunnel access. Melbourne just solved a century-old transport crisis with impossible engineering. The city that was choking on its own success now has room to grow for generations. The metro tunnel represents more than infrastructure. It's proof that cities can reinvent themselves without losing their character. Melbourne kept its heritage buildings, protected its neighborhoods, and still managed to thread modern transport beneath it all. The opening marks a turning point. Melbourne transforms from a city constrained by its transport network to one liberated by it. The tunnels move people and possibilities. If you want to see how other cities are tackling impossible infrastructure challenges, watch this next video about Singapore's underground expansion.